Nigeria helped and supported South Africa in the fight against apartheid policy. In fact, Nigeria was one of the foremost countries across the world that fought rigorously against apartheid policy in South Africa. Now, it is no news that apartheid officially began in South Africa in 1948 when they instituted laws that supported apartheid, and it lasted till 1994 when it was officially dissolved, when it finally stopped in South Africa. And Nigeria was one of the countries that fought fervently for the liberation of the black people and the colored people in South Africa, because apartheid was a policy of racial segregation against the black and the colored people in South Africa. So the support Nigeria gave to South Africa did not just begin in the late 70s or late 80s or the early 90s. It began as far back as the 1960s when Nigeria became independent. Nigeria became independent in 1960, and from that time, Nigeria had been given a helping hand, in fact, let me say helping hands to South Africa in order to conquer what is known as apartheid policy. So, in 1976, the Nigerian government created something known as the South Africa Relief Fund. With this initiative, every Nigerian worker and student was mandated to donate to pay a particular amount of money into that account, and the money in that account was used to support South Africa's liberation activities and programs. This donation was not voluntary, it was very mandatory. I mean mandatory. It was a national policy, so it was mandatory. Also, between 1976 and 1979, under the Muritala Obasanjo military regime in Nigeria, many anti-apartheid programs and conferences were held in Lagos. In fact, many countries were asked to come, many countries were invited, countries that were against apartheid policy in South Africa, they converged in Lagos those days, and they had meetings, they had discussions on how they could solve, how they could bring down apartheid policy in South Africa. Finally, that was sponsored by Nigeria. In addition, Nigeria gave financial support, diplomatic support, in fact, even military training support to freedom fighters in South Africa. There was a political party in South Africa that was at the forefront of fighting this apartheid policy. It was known as the African National Congress. It included people like Nelson Mandela, Jafta Masemola, and a host of them. So Nigeria offered support to that particular political party, and the South African freedom fighters that couldn't stay in South Africa, they escaped to Nigeria without even collecting visas. So we can say that Nigeria was like a safe place. It was a refuge for the freedom fighters in South Africa that could not stay in South Africa. They had to run to Nigeria. To show how concerned Nigeria was about stopping apartheid policy in South Africa, Nigeria broke ties, friendship ties and relations with those countries that were supporting apartheid in South Africa. For example, Britain supported apartheid policy in South Africa, and because of that, the Nigerian government nationalized British assets in Nigeria. For example, the British Petroleum, the Barclays Bank, they were all nationalized in Nigeria then, to show that Nigeria was not in support of apartheid. At the same time, those that were supporting apartheid, Nigeria was against all of them, to show how concerned Nigeria was about stopping apartheid in South Africa. Need I say this, that Nigeria did not do all of these because of a particular hidden agenda or something? Nigeria did not do all of these because maybe Nigeria was politically obligated to do that. No, Nigeria only did this based on one particular thing, which is captured in the word Afrocentrism. African solidarity, oneness of Africa. Nigeria fought against apartheid because Nigeria saw South Africa as a brother. South Africa.